Hi there, Craig Hocknull here, coming to you from Cabo San Lucas at the beautiful Montage, getting ready to go play Twin Dolphin here this afternoon. And I just did a video indoors, check it out, using the back of the couch to work on the hammered down location. And I've been looking for an opportunity to try to talk about the timing of the hammer down and how the release of that changes really between clubs. I looked outside, I saw the rungs right here on the balcony, and I thought maybe I'll use those, but really what I'm going to use is this chair and this coffee table to talk to you about the timing. Okay, so we just talked indoors about the hammer down, and we know that, let's say I'm using the railing here, take my setup, I'm going to go right-handed now, make a nice big deep turn, and I come back here. We worked on the direction, the kind of the location. Now what we're going to work on is the timing of how the hands, wrists, arms accelerate the saber or the golf club out and where that happens. So the typical direction's about the same. It graduates a little bit. So for example, the driver is a little bit more, feels like it's deeper behind you, and the wedge is more in front of you. But the angle in which the club or the saber accelerates out changes. So I'm going to use the railing, the chair, and the coffee table to describe to you how I feel that happens in my swing. So for example, if I take my back swing back here with a driver, first things first, you can use your saber for this. It's about 37 inches long, so visually add maybe 8 to 10 inches, and now you've got your driver length. As I set up to my driver, I'm going to be setting up a lot taller. So there's a hammer down release, and I like to refer to that as the point in which the shaft is basically level to the ground. So as I make my driver backswing, I turn back over the railing here. Now what I feel with my driver is that not only am I releasing back behind me over here, I'm actually releasing the club head a lot sooner for the driver. The shaft's much longer, and it has a much wider diameter to that circle. So as it comes back around, you need to get this end accelerating out sooner so that it times up well, whereas with a wedge it's going to be much later. So we're going to use the railing for the driver, nice big deep turn, kind of an early throw, get that saber to snap out behind you in this direction. That's the driver. Now if I come down here to something right here, just in between waist and knee height, as I get my setup here, I'm going to come back to the chair. Turn into my backswing. Now, the driver was up here. That's where I feel like I'm releasing my hands out. Let's call this maybe a 7-iron, where I come in, I'm turning my hips, creating just a tiny bit of lag right here, so that as I come down, that little bit of lag allows this to now be level to the ground. So the point that the club head is basically fully releasing out is now later in the swing for, say, a 7-iron. Now, as I work into a wedge, I've got a coffee table here. So what this looks like, same nice big deep backswing, get to the top of my backswing, hips are turned, arms are behind me, get to this point. Now, I'm going to feel like my arms right here lower longer, and I'm going to get down here to closer to knee height before I really accelerate that club out. So if you've been, say, accelerating that club out over here early on a wedge, you could catch it a little fat, catch it a little thin. That's what we're talking about, is timing, right? So if you throw it out early, you're probably going to run into the ground early. If you lag it too long, you're going to hit it thin. And the ball flights that correlate to that is, let's say I throw it out here early, if I do hit nice contact, that club's gonna come from the inside, sweep it through here. If I don't hit the ground first, what's gonna happen, that club face is gonna have a tendency of being closed early, and I'm gonna hit a hook or a draw out there. If I lag that club in too long, my body's gonna try to kind of elevate and clear out of the way. And when that happens, that lag causes the club to not bottom out at the right time, causes it to bottom out late. That means it's going to be a thin shot. The face is probably going to hit thin, and it's going to cut out to the right. That's if you're making decent contact. You'll see some curvature that is complementary to those maneuvers. So if you're hitting it thin and fading it, you got to throw it out early. Think of throwing it up here by the railing. If you're chunking it, you're throwing it too early, maybe hooking it a little bit, you've got to lag it down here a little bit closer to the height of the chair. And on wedges, chip shots, pitch shots, we know we want that descending angle on the back of the ball for a nice crisp strike. So you're going to feel like you pull your arms down a little longer here, lay that saber right on top of the coffee table before you give it that acceleration with the hands. So hopefully these tips on not just kind of the direction of the throw, but the timing of the throw really help you to clean up that strike and hit better golf shots.